What's up, guys? It's Josh here, back with another Kansas City Chiefs related video. And today I've got a very interesting topic to talk about. And, it's a slow time of the NFL calendar year. It's the middle of July. There's not a whole lot going on. So it's really just a lot of evergreen topics right now, not a lot of news. However, the offseason, that's usually when a lot of stuff happens behind the scenes that we don't see. The players are always doing a lot to try and get better, and it's just a big time of the year for players and their development, such as the storyline of McCole Hardman trying to take over that number 2 wide receiver spot. Apparently he will be going into camp as the number 2, and the team is confident that he can take that step forward. It's going to be stuff like that. But players aren't the only ones trying to get better this offseason. It's the coaches. And Andy Reid, despite being one of the top head coaches in the league, is still always looking for ways to get better. And coaches are always in the meeting room, in the film room, figuring out, what plays can I call better? What can I do to motivate the players? They work harder than the players. In fact, coaches, it's a very hard job. I wouldn't want to do it. And all that being said, when I talk about these things in the video, I don't want people to take it the wrong way. I want people to have an open mind. This isn't me saying I'm better than Andy Reid. This isn't me saying I should be the coach of the Chiefs, so I don't want any of that in the comments. This is just, if I were to have a one-on-one with Andy Reid and talk about stuff that I would do or that I would recommend, these are just things that I would talk about. And I know you guys have those concerns too. There's sometimes you're watching the game and there's some head-scratching stuff from Andy Reid. I get it, man. It's just something that we have to go through as fans. So all that being said, I'm going to get into 3 critiques I have of Andy Reid and something that I would like to see change for the 2021 season. And that's coming up right after this. All right, so thing number 1 that I have when it comes to Andy Reid is letting the young guys play. I know Andy Reid, and this is like most coaches, I'm sure this is a frustrating aspect for fans of a lot of teams, is when coaches don't let the young guys play. There's always that aging veteran or that low-end starter that fans are always frustrated with, and it always seems like an obvious move to put in the rookie, put in the young guy that the team has invested in to try and, improve the team's overall performance. For example, Ben Neiman, he's someone on the Chiefs that has frustrated a lot of us fans for years now, and the team invested a high pick in Willie Gay. And however, last year, Willie Gay did not get a ton of snaps. Ben Neiman got a lot of snaps over him. A lot of it has to do with the fact that Ben Neiman knows where to be and he knows the system, and Willie Gay is still coming along. And yes, I acknowledge that. But there is no doubt that every time Willie Gay was on the field, he flashed and he knew what he had the ability, he had the athleticism to match up with guys out there, all right? He didn't know where to be all the time. Sometimes he would mess up, but also he has that, athleticism and speed that helps him to recover in situations like that, where if he is running in the wrong direction or has the wrong assignment, he can recover. Ben Neiman doesn't have the athleticism to recover. And, sometimes people like to bag on, for example, Patrick Queen, the rookie linebacker for the Ravens last year, because he had a very bad PFF grade. Now, here's the issue with that. Patrick Queen was still a very good rookie linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens last year. Yes, his PFF grade was low, but he was still very productive. He was one of the most productive rookie linebackers in the league, and that's because the Ravens just let him play. They let him play through those mistakes. And the Chiefs, they aren't a team really to let their rookies play through mistakes or play rookies a ton. I know Andy Reid's playbook is one of the hardest to learn for players on offense. I know their defensive scheme can be a little bit complicated for guys too, but the best way to let a guy learn is to let them play. Maybe not in the most high-stakes situation, but I remember plenty of times last year where the game was clearly over, and that's a perfect time to put a player like Willie Gay in the game, and they just didn't. And I just would like to see them let the young guys play. You want to let these guys prove themselves. develop and get reps in a real game. And that's just something that I have not seen a ton from an Andy Reid coaching staff over the last several years. Just really obvious personnel decisions that never happened, that just are a little bit of a head scratcher. And that's one thing that I hope to see change in 2021, is that we see a lot of contribution from the young guys. Critique number 2 that I have for Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs coaching staff: lay off the run up the middle, particularly on first and second and long. Oh my bejesus. That is one of the most frustrating things that I've seen from Andy Reid the last few years, is the run up the middle, particularly on first and second down when it's first and 10, second and 10. Now, I will say maybe I will ease up on the criticism for this one, given the fact that the Chiefs' offensive line, especially on the interior, is revamped this year. They invested high in Clyde Edwards-Helaire, so maybe it will be more successful, thus I won't complain about it as much. But there were just so many times where they would just hand the ball to Clyde, who even isn't the best power back that's going to push a pile or get you tough yards on second and long. There was just so many times they handed it off to him up the middle. No creativity in the run blocking. Push in the run blocking game from the interior O-line. And it just it killed so many drives, and it killed so much potential that the offense had, because then it would put you in a situation where now it's 3rd and 10, and you got to ask Mahomes to pull a rabbit out of a hat. And, us as Chiefs fans, we've kind of been spoiled with the fact that we have Mahomes, who makes 3rd and 10 look so easy for us to convert, whereas before it was not that easy to just get a first down on 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9. But that's something that I think we should face less of next year, whether that be because the run up the middle works or because Andy Reid doesn't force it as much. It's just frustrating to see him force that. And I know sometimes he'll do that because then you chip away yards to where you have a 3rd and manageable instead of a 3rd and long. But the problem is we just didn't have the run game to be able to pull that off. And I know Andy Reid tried to throw teams off by running up the middle, but we did it so much to the point where we weren't really throwing teams off, and it just made it too easy for defenses to stop us on drives like that. So I'm really hoping that next year the 2nd and long run goes away or becomes more successful. Either of the two, I'll be happy. But oh gosh, that was frustrating. All right, now my 3rd and final critique for Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs coaching staff is to go for the jugular when you're going against these lesser teams. I remember towards the end of the year, last year for the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe in their last 7 games, they won by a combined 27 points, like a really bad point differential in those last 7 games of the year. Just letting mediocre teams hang around and never going for the jugular. I hate that. And Andy Reid has always been this type of coach that's going to respect the other side, respect the other team, and he's never going to run up the score on them. I'm tired of that, man. I want games to be put away. And, if you have that kind of mentality, that's how games get blown. And we've seen Andy Reid, as great of a coach as he is, blow a lot of games in the past. You don't see it as much anymore with the Patrick Mahomes era now in full gear. But before, back in the Alex Smith days, there were a lot of games we choked away in the final minutes because of that. Andy Reid kind of playing nice and everything like that. And look, I understand that, and you don't want to piss off coaches, other coaches in the league, but you want to put these games away. And I'm tired of having mediocre teams hang around, and it's just, and look, if you blow out a team late in the 4th quarter, then you don't have to have your starters out there. There were so many games last year late in the 4th quarter where Patrick Mahomes and the first string offense is still out there. I don't want them to be out there that late in the game. If you would just run up the score earlier on, yes, it might be a little bit more work, but the team is fully capable of doing it. And even though it's more work, then you can take those guys out of the game. And then going back to my first point about playing the young guys, then you get more of an opportunity to throw those rookies and those young guys, 2nd, 3rd year players that maybe still are grasping the playbook. You get to throw them in the game so they get some learning experience. I really hope that in 2021, Andy Reid just stomps on people's throats and ends the games when they should be over. So, yeah, those are my 3 critiques for Andy Reid, things that I would like to see change in 2021. Let me know in the comments, do you guys agree with everything I said? Is there anything I missed? I know there's some other ones that people have complained about over the years. Let me know, though. Would love to get some discussion going on this. I thought I did pretty good, hit the nail on the head with my 3 critiques, but yeah, let me know. But all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this, and make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and kckingdom.com. Peace.